It is Tuesday. We are properly caffeinated with some cloud water. Shout out to the big glass that's closing nearby me. Welcome to the penultimate edition of AU Tuesdays right here exclusively on the Inner Circle YouTube channel. My name is Victor Anderson. And folks, if you did not see the update I posted on the Inner Circle Twitter /X account earlier today, well, that means we have a busy show for you. Well, enough of me yapping. Let's get to the rundown of tonight's festivities. Why don't we? As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we are chomping our way to a championship. The leaderboard at AU allowed me the easy way to insert that pun into tonight's conversation. We're going to recap week 4, what happened last week in Rosemont, and essentially it was a weekend of royalty in terms of her most royal majesty, Queen Georgina Corrick, racing her way up to the leaderboard and in the number 2 position, entering the final weekend of play in Rosemont. We will re-air a portion of the interview I had with Morgan Zirkle that took place last week prior to the action in week 4. I will once again subject myself to humiliation by recapping how Eric's roster thoroughly dominated mine. We'll go over the leaderboard going into the final week. And ladies and gentlemen, you see in that ace slot in the lineup, Savannah Collins will be joining me later on this very show to share her thoughts and her analysis on what we can look for this final weekend of Athletes Unlimited. That's all coming up tonight here on AU Tuesday. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that like button. That way you get this video out to the masses. The more people like the video, the more people will get this video out. We certainly appreciate all of your support. Now, week 4 in AU was a very intriguing week, to say the least. A lot of movement, a lot of activity. We'll talk about Georgina Corrick in just a few moments, but someone who has made her own ascent up the leaderboard is someone who knows a thing or two about winning AU championship seasons. That is Alicia Ocasio, the 2021 champion, is 3rd and is in prime position to become the first player ever to win Athletes Unlimited on multiple occasions. We will talk about her team and the team and what she'll need to do and overcome both Corrick and Amanda Lorenz in just a few moments. And Kat Sandercock, she was the biggest mover of the leaderboard going into this final week of the season. Sandercock went from 43rd to 21st on the leaderboard, thanks to 8 scoreless innings for Team Lorenz last week, including 2 saves, earned MVP 2 honors after giving up 1 run, 2 hits, 4 innings with 4 strikeouts. That's on the victory she had on Sunday. But the story of the week, of the weekend, if you will, no real surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all pay our proper respect and homage to Her Royal Majesty. Yes, all hail Queen George. Georgina Corrick was on an absolute tear this past weekend. And of course, now the stats are courtesy from Athletes Unlimited. And this is from the article that was written, both articles written both by Savannah Collins, who will join us later on in the show, and of course by Eric Rue, part of the Week 5 Draft Dots. And it just gives you comparison, ladies and gentlemen, to what Georgina Corrick has done throughout the season and getting herself in position to potentially overtake Amanda Lorenz to winning Athletes Unlimited. The craziest thing, you look at the numbers. Highest point earner in week 4, 96 stat points, 80 MVP points, 350 win points, jumped up 13 spots to 2nd to become the Orange team captain, which means you're going to see, and we're going to talk about the schedule later on, Lorenz Corrick battling the final game of the season for the Athletes Unlimited Championship. And you see Corrick's numbers down below. top MVP point earner with 200 points. 3 times she's been MVP one, that is 60 points, and MVP 3 once, that's an additional 20 points. You look at her standings. 45th after week 1, 33rd after week 2, 15th after week 3, and we highlighted her jump 13 spots into where she is now in second. If you recall the last 2 seasons, we saw a similar ascent from Alyssa Denham, where she crept in to that top 4, the next to last, entering the final weekend of the regular season, suffered heartbreak in 2022 with a home run in the 6th by Deja Mulipola to put Deja into the championship. And of course, last year, it was Odyssey Alexander's essentially league to lose, and Odyssey did nothing to let Denham get that. Can Georgina Corrick do what Alyssa Denham could not do in 22 and in 23? And that's finish the comeback, finish that run from 45th to the championship in Athletes Unlimited. And when I talked to Savannah about this, and I know she and her great team are doing plenty of research about this, I'm pretty sure Korg may have the biggest hole to climb out of after week 1 to win Athletes Unlimited in any season, either the championship season or AUX. We'll talk to Savannah about that later on during the evening. But you can see just based on the numbers, and it talks about how important it is that you have to perform and you got to get wins. When they say every play matters in Athletes Unlimited, it is the absolute truth. Every play matters, and it came to fruition with Georgina Corrick. You can see the ascent that she's made in this standings for Athletes Unlimited. Now, we talked about the show. We have a lot to get to. We're going to do a really in-depth breakdown of the leaderboard coming up on the back end of the show. And of course, Savannah Collins, AU senior reporter, will be joining me at 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central to talk about the movement from Georgina Corrick and some interesting possibilities. One of them being a all Gator top 4. Yes, that is on the board, ladies and gentlemen, and in play. We'll talk about that with Savannah Collins coming up later on Athletes Unlimited Tuesdays. But we have a very special treat for you, ladies and gentlemen. I had the opportunity and the privilege to talk to Morgan Zirkle prior to week 4 action got started in Rosemont last weekend. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to air a portion of that interview in case you missed it on our latest episode of Inner Circle on D1 Softball, or if you just want to listen to Coach Zirkle's thoughts again, we could do so right here. Now, in this portion of the interview, this is going to be strictly Athletes Unlimited. And the first question that I asked Coach Zirkle in this section that you're going to go watch right now is her thoughts on having Allie Harrell and Sydney McKinney, her coaching staff at Marshall, and former teammates at AU, working with them, and how playing in AU has helped them become better coaches. Here's my conversation with Marshall head coach Morgan Zirkle right here at AU Tuesdays. On Inner Circle on D1 Softball, you alluded to playing your 5th season in Athletes Unlimited, and you reached a milestone. You became the first player to play 100 games in Athletes Unlimited. And did that surprise you that you were the first, given that there were so many players who have been in Athletes Unlimited around the same time? Victoria Hayward comes to mind, and that you were the first to reach the century mark in games played at AU?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I'd been here since the beginning, but I guess I maybe didn't realize that no one else had, played in every single game. And I think, I've always prioritized softball and I love it so much. And I think it's cool to be able to say that, I've been here every game from the beginning and super proud of that accomplishment. Just, I think it shows how much I love the game, and it's it's cool to be able to still do it now as I coach too.
And you've seen AAU grow from its infancy stages. You and Victoria Hayward, I call you the day ones, as you two have been here from the beginning of
Yeah.
Athletes Limited to where it is now. What is your number one reason why AAU has grown so much in such a short period of time?
Well, I think it starts, from the top and the people that we have in charge here that, really prioritize athletes and what we want and what we need. And it may not be perfect at times, but they're willing to listen and get feedback from athletes and try to make the league, as best as it can be. And for a long time, and taking people investing in softball and getting us on ESPN where people can watch and get viewership and growing the game. And I think, yeah, the top just really prioritized us as athletes, and that's helped more people want to be involved in such a great league.
And not only that, you're getting an AAU softball league starting in 2025. You got Kim Ng joining in, Jessica Mendoza. It seems like everybody wants to jump on the Athletes Unlimited train that's leaving the station. And it just seems to me, particularly with the season of play that we've seen in Wichita at AUX, with Bubba Nichols winning, and of course the tight race that we got going on right now in Rosemont with a couple weeks left to go, is it safe to say that this season, from what you're seeing, is probably the most competitive season of Athletes Unlimited that we've had so far?
Yeah, I would absolutely say that. Like, just you can tell from the scores of games. There's close games, there are low scoring games. Like, pitching is doing really well. And you'll have those higher ones here and there, but like the competition is just a lot closer than in years past. And I think that's to say we're getting the best athletes to play here. And I think next year with the league, it's just going to be even more competitive. So I'm excited to see how great the softball gets next year too.
I mean, the talent on just the rookies from this year alone, I don't think I can recall a season where we've had newcomers make a big of an impact with Skylar Wallace. You got Lexi Kilfoyle near the top of the leaderboard, Aaron Koffel, Caroline Jacobson, so forth and so on. It's just that the talent that we continue to see has been remarkable year after year.
Yeah, and I think that goes to, being a place that people athletes want to go. And when I graduated college, I remember like wanting to play pro, but there really wasn't. I think there was 26, drafted spots, and yeah, there was more teams, but it just didn't feel like people were playing for years and years and years, or you know or we would take more athletes, whereas now it's like the best of the best, or having a goal of playing early on in their college career, and they see this athletes in London, it's like they can set their mind to something and work towards something, which I think is great for our sport, to know that there's something to work towards.
And because you have so many more players who have or more familiar with the fans, they can follow them closely, not just after they finish their college careers, and they can follow them in their professional careers as well.
Yeah, that's a cool piece as well. I mean, college softball is growing substantially in social media and all the things, like, so people love watching softball, so now that they get a platform to do it on longer is really cool.
Is there a particular player or two that you've seen in Rosemont this year that you just watch from wherever you're from, either from the dugout or your position defensively? You're just like, wow, I never realized they were that good now that you saw them in person.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people like that every year. Just watching infielders, and as a coach who, wants my infield to be great, I think watching all the infielders here, every single one of them, just how quick their hands are and how quick they get rid of the ball, I'm like amazed as an outfield coach. Like, I want my team to look like that. Like, Sydney, get them going with looking like that. So as a group, that's what I'm always most impressed with. But specifically, Erin Koffel's been someone who's impressed me because I've seen her play at the college level for years. And of course, being at Kentucky, I've played against her and followed her or coached against her. So to see her in person and be able to talk to her and just, pick her softball mind a little bit is pretty cool.
And I think the funny thing about this, coach, is that we don't see as many talented players. Let me rephrase that question. We don't see the quality of talent like an Aaron Koppel every day, but we get to see her on this stage in Rosemont. And fans who may not know who Aaron Koffel is, you get to see every weekend, like, wow, I didn't realize how phenomenal of a player she is and a phenomenal person that she is. And you get the chance to talk to all of these athletes and realize they're not just great softball players, but they're great individuals as well. I think that's the part that fans don't really get to see, but you get to see it on a first-hand basis.
Yes, that's one of the most, fun and intriguing parts of AU is, we change teams and it's a group of 60 athletes, but it's an awesome experience to not just play with, maybe 12 to 15 of, other great athletes, but you're with 60 of the best athletes in the world and you get to pick their brain and get to know them as people and friends. And it's just an awesome environment for our sport.
And to a couple of those players who will be stepping away from the pro side after this year, Sam Fisher and Haley McClenny, you had your battles against them. You've been teammates against them in AU over the past few years. Your thoughts first on Haley and Halo, what she's meant to this sport with not only her defense, but just her class and the way that she carries herself.
Yeah, I mean, she was truly one of my biggest role models from an early age. And when I made the USA Elite team, I think it was like in 2016, my first year kind of with the USA, I remember practicing with her and just being in awe that I was on the same field practicing with Haley McClenny. So to now like be in an environment where we became friends and played together a lot, and to see her all she's done for the sport and for athletes like me who are just a little bit younger than her is awesome. And that's what I hope to do too when my time comes, is just leave the sport in a better place and inspire the next generation to play as long as they can.
And she has done all of that and then some. Is still playing at an elite level as she winds down to this chapter of her softball career, and will transition forward. And of course, Sam Fisher, we appreciate Samu for the levity she brings with her infectious personality, but she is just a tremendous player. And people who don't follow softball, didn't know who Sam Fisher was until she got to AU. And now we get to see her and we realize, oh, wow, she was a phenomenal player. And now we get a couple more weeks of her before Samu says bye-bye and rides off into the sunset.
Yeah, that's another thing that's cool about AU is, mid-major athletes that maybe weren't originally popular on ESPN or social media, like growing up, can do great here. And I think it just shows, Sam Fisher, in my eyes, was one of those first really elite mid-major players, and that, gave me hope that I can be successful at this level too. So she's done a lot for the sport in my eyes, with just proving that she can compete at a high level.
Speak with and you see that interview we had with Morgan Zirkle on here on AU Tuesdays. To catch the full interview that I had with Coach Zirkle, make sure you listen to the latest episode of In the Circle on D1 Softball, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Also, we had North Texas new pitching coach, Mary Beth Gorsuch, on the podcast as well. So great interviews by from both of them. But we still have plenty more to talk about on the show tonight. Let's take a look at the recap that we got so far. 1/3 of the way through the order, so we're getting to the heart of our lineup, which means I have to address the fantasy portion, which, well, let's be honest, folks, for all intents and purposes, Eric and I's fantasy battle was over after week 2, but because we are fair and we are obligated to give you the people the full story, we will talk about that. We'll go over the leaderboard for Athletes Unlimited, really break down the reasons why you're seeing the movement that we've seen. We'll go over the schedule for the final week of the season, the rosters. Savannah Collins will be joining us. And then I had a poll question that we put up on our In the Circle /X Twitter account on Monday, and we will get you some of those results as of this live show. So that's once again for those of you who are new to the game. Eric Lopez and I, prior to Athletes Unlimited starting, each drafted 5 players to be on our fantasy roster. And well, based on the next time that you're about to hear,
down goes Anderson. Down goes Anderson.
Yeah, hasn't gone well for your boy. Whoa. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and there are a lot of words on this, ladies and gentlemen. And well, Eric, congratulations. You will formally take the reins over me for Athletes Unlimited championship season, but I did beat him in AUX, so I win one, he wins one. Kind of like Drew McIntyre wins one, CM Punk wins one. I don't know if that means if our rubber match will be taking place at Bad Blood inside Hell of a Cell for all you wrestling fans. I don't know what that means, but we digress nonetheless. Let us proceed. Let's take a look at what the leaderboard looked like entering last week's play. You see Amanda Lorenz with the scant 4-point lead over Sasha Palacios and Lexi Kilfoyle, Megan Ferrero, who made the big jump going into week 4. Skylar Wallace, Haley McClenny, Tori Vidalis, Salish Palacios, Andrea Filler, and then rounding out the top 10 last week was Aaron Koffel. But because of a strong week this week, take a look at our leaderboard going into the final week of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Woo-wee. There's a reason why I brought up the top 11, because you see Amanda Lorenz, 230-point lead over Georgina Corrick. Corrick moving up 13 spots, one of the biggest movers in Athletes Unlimited going into week 5. The biggest one was Kat Sandicott moving up 22 spots. She was the new mover of the week. Alicia Ocasio jumped up 8 spots to be 3rd. Lexi Kilfoyle still the captain for the 4th straight week. Sasha Palacios, she's just knocking on the door. That number 4 spot, she is 5th. Skylar Wallace has took a bit of a tumble the last couple of weeks, but still within striking distance to be a top 4 recipient. Then Kelsey Harshman, Tori Vidalis, Delaney Wiz, Kelsey Stewart Hunter, and Megan Ferramo. But as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 Gators in the top 10. So a big opportunity for Tim Walton, my boy Cal Crooks, and all the Gator faithful to do a lot of bragging if the Gators can get Lorenz. Okay, and I want to stress this, ladies and gentlemen, because as I come back up to your screen before we go back, it is not out of the realm of possibilities whatsoever that you could have Gator at least in the top 4. Top 10 definitely, but let me give you a breakdown one more time, because you see this is going into the week. Now, this is before we took this screenshot before the rosters were drafted. We'll go over the rosters going into week 5 in just a moment. You see Skylar Wallace, she's only 92 points behind Lexi Kilfoyle, not only for that number 4 spot, but the highest scoring rookie for Athletes Unlimited. You see Kelsey Stewart Hunter, she's only 152 points behind Lexi Kilfoyle for 4th place. So you see how close Ocasio is behind Amanda Lorenz, 236 points. So it is possible that you can see 2 Gators in the top 4, maybe more in the top 5. We will have to wait and see what happens with everything goes down this weekend. Now, to give a little further understanding, look at Amanda Lorenz. 630 points because of, look at the win. This is the win points. When you win an inning, you get 10 points. So that means Amanda Lorenz has 630 points just based on innings won alone. That's the most of anyone in Athletes Unlimited. Alicia Ocasio is 2nd, Kelsey Harshman, Mackenzie Clark, and Delaney Wiz round out the top 5 there in terms of points won via innings. Now, if we take a look at points won via stats, actually, let's take a points won, the total actual win points. You see, Amanda Lorenz is first, Sachelle Palacios is second, and Anacasio third. Look at Georgina Korek, who is one of the captains, second place finish, who's in second place right now. 940 win points. Why is Korek now up to second? Allow me to show you. So here's the stat points. Kilfoyle has been near the top at stat points for the majority of this championship season. Faramo, Lorenz, Wallace, and Shalise Palacios round out the top 5 there. So the reason Georgina Korek made this jump, MVP points. Look at that. Boom. Look at this. 200 MVP points for Georgina Korek. She's been MVP 1 on 3 separate occasions, tied for the most of anyone this season in Athletes Unlimited. And she's also had an MVP 3 once. So you get 60 points for MVP 1, 40 points for MVP 2, 20 points for MVP 3. As you compare that to Amanda Lorenz with 160 MVP points. See Kilfoyle with 100. It gives you a great understanding of why these points are valued and they matter so much, because the reason why Lorenz continues to be on top is because her team has won more games. Look, 630 points just because her team won innings. Games won, 450 points for win points. And that's why when you see the top 10, especially among the captains, see Lorenz with 1,080 win points, Ocasio 991 points, Korek 941 points. And we have to go back to another slide, and we take a look at Lexi Kilfoyle. Kilfoyle, in spite cruising in stat points of 422, only 690 win points. Skylar Wallace has more than her, 840 points. Haley McClenny, 700 win points. Erin Koppel, 790 points. Alyssa Denham, 730 points. So again, it's all about the team performance. That is why Amanda Lorenz has been the number 1 point getter for 3 weeks in a row and has an opportunity to become the second Gator to win Athletes Unlimited in the championship season, ironically enough, alongside Alicia Ocasio, who won it in 2021. By the way, coming after an Olympic year. Just want to bring that up. By the way, I don't know why softball wasn't in the Olympics this year, but yeah, breaking was. Anyway, but now that we have all of that, let's take a look at the schedule going into the final week of the season. Friday night, Team Ocasio versus Team Korek. I firmly believe Georgina Korek needs to knock off Ocasio on Friday night, because those two are going to play Team Lorenz Saturday and Sunday. So whoever wins that first matchup between Ocasio and Korek will find themselves in the inside position to try and knock off Amanda Lorenz going into the weekend. Team Lorenz plays Team Kilfoyle to wrap up Friday night's action, and on Saturday, Team Kilfoyle versus Team Korek. And then we have Gator v. Gator for the second time this year. Skylar Wallace was a captain and played Team Lorenz on a Sunday. I believe that was in week 3 when that happened. And then, of course, Sunday, Team Kilfoyle versus Team Ocasio, and then Team Korek versus Team Lorenz to wrap up Athletes Unlimited. And this will be, by the way, the second time in 3 seasons that the top 2 point getters will play in the final game of the season to decide the championship. Actually, I take that back. Alyssa Denham did not play. She played in the penultimate game of the regular season each of the last 2 seasons, and I had to wait and see what would happen with Deja Mulipola in 2022 and Odyssey Alexander in 2023. So let me correct myself before I get messages and DMs from Savannah saying, no, so-and-so did this. Sorry, Savannah, I know you're watching. I'll talk to you in 15 minutes and get your perspective of everything. Now, you notice Friday and Saturday's games are going to be on Bally Sports regional networks. As of right now, we do not know what Bally Sports affiliates will be carrying the weekend action of Athletes Unlimited. That's why you go to AU Pro Sports on social media, AU Pro Softball, to find out all the information, auprosports.com. Sure you find out which Bally Sports regional network will be carrying it and if it'll be available in your area. As we like to say back in the day, check your local listings for the Bally Sports regional networking area. And of course, Sunday, ESPNU, Eric Collins, and Daniel Laurie and Savannah Collins will be having a call of the championship Sunday. And Rosemont, of course, our farewells will be made to Haley McClenny and Sam Fisher as they will make their final weekends in Rosemont and professional softball. Let's take a look at the teams going into this final weekend of Athletes Unlimited. Team Lorenz, a lot of familiarity with Team Lorenz. A lot of these players have been on Team Lorenz at some point during the season, with especially with Hannah Flippin, Taylor Edwards, Kelsey Stewart Hunter, Peyton Gottschall, Mariah Mazone, Victoria Hayward, Alyssa Denham, Aaron Koffel, Kelsey Harshman, Jesse Warren, Rachel Garcia, Mackenzie Clark, Jalen Alchin, and Hannah Borden make up Team Lorenz for the final week of the season. Team Coric, of course, her Royal Majesty, Taylor McQuillan, who was a captain earlier this year, Shachelle Palacios, Aubrey Leach, Haley McClenny, Charlize Palacios. So the Palacios sisters will have one final weekend playing together. I'm sure there'll be a lot of them. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. You got Sasha Palacios, Haley McClenny, Charlize Palacios, Sam Fisher. Now we know Fisher and McClenny are going to be in their final weekends playing Athletes Unlimited. So there's going to be plenty motivation to get not only Team Coric to Georgina Coric the championship, but to send those legends out on a victorious note. And also you see Morgan Zirkle, who you just saw in our interview that I had with her last week on this episode tonight. Team Ocasio, see Alicia Ocasio, Megan Ferramo, Skylar Wallace, Bubba Nichols, Erica Piancastelli, who is who again had another big week. Piancastelli has a chance to have a top 15 finish, and also has a chance as well to set the home run record for most career home runs in Athletes Unlimited. Wins Vekas, last year's champion, Odyssey Alexander, you see as well. Morgan DeBoer, Jonah Roberts, Josie Muffley, Caleb Beaver, and then Lexi Kilfoyle's squad, Cass Sandicock, particulars, Tori Vidalis, Bailey Klinger, Kayla Koala, Kaylee Harding, Sarah Willis. By the way, Sarah Willis, they have an article out on Sarah Willis right now on auprosports.com. Make sure you check that out. Riley Ludlam, an injury replacement for Mia Davidson. Ludlam joined Athletes Unlimited last week. Play catcher at Furman. So she gets a great opportunity to spend a couple weeks in Rosemont and play with some of the best softball players in the world. So hopefully we'll get Riley on a future episode of In the Circle to get her thoughts on her experiences playing in Rosemont and how to you go around, you just chilling, you got a nice summer, and then you get a phone call that says, hey, want to play some softball for 2 weeks with some of the greatest softball players in the world? I'm sure Riley's like, yeah. And then there she is in Rosemont being on Team Kilfoyle. So that's the look at the rosters and the schedules. One more. I accidentally clicked on the fantasy rosters. All right, play the clip, please.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Eric tried his best, ladies and gentlemen, to I don't want to say force his way onto the show, but I told Eric, you have plenty of time to crow about your roster when we talk about it on our Monday episode of In the Circle. Oh, hell, I'll even let you come on our wrap-up show next Tuesday night. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a AU Tuesday wrap-up show next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, to put a nice big old bow on season 5 of Athletes Unlimited Softball. What is next for the league as it go into the AUSL in 2025, what the future of the league will look like. And I'm excited to see not only what will happen this weekend. By the way, the Sports Brawl, they will be out in Rosemont for the second straight weekend. That's going to be a fun event as well. And Athletes Unlimited also made some news on the NIL front, which I will actually want to share with you right now here on AU Tuesdays. By the way, for those of you who are still hanging out with us, Savannah Collins, senior reporter from Athletes Unlimited, will be joining me in about 10 minutes or so to kind of give her perspective on what she has been seeing in Rosemont this season and what I think has been one of the most exciting seasons in Athletes Unlimited, at least on the championship side, that I can remember. So here's the latest news from Athletes Unlimited that I was teasing a little bit. Athletes Unlimited has launched the AU Pro Athletes Exchange, a marketplace to connect athletes and businesses for name, image, and likeness opportunities. In partnership with INFLCR, the AU Pro Athletes Exchange provides free users with the ability to initiate conversations with athletes on NIL deals and endorsements. The exchange will also allow AU athletes to engage directly with fans through personal video messages, autographs, clinics, and more. Each athlete has the autonomy to decide their offerings. INFLCR is one of the national leaders in athlete brand building, working with more than 250 collegiate and professional sports organizations. The launch expands AU's continued investment in building its athletes' brands. In February, the organization announced that it had created a new position within its marketing team on growing the opportunities for athletes to be compensated through NIL. And they then established the player network to educate and engage athletes on social media to help them maximize their social visibility and brand through their playing career and beyond. Now, here's my favorite part. All player network athletes can opt into the AU Pro Athletes Exchange. Participating athletes will receive 100% of the endorsement. That means whatever endorsement they get every single cent. And once again, Athletes Unlimited setting the example and setting the blueprint for all other leagues and entities to follow. And especially with how NIL is, I will refrain from giving my thoughts on NIL because a lot of you have had your thoughts on NIL, especially with how transfers and things of that nature. I will refrain from making those particular comments on this particular platform. Maybe I'll do it on I said it on my next time. I don't know. But once again, Athletes Unlimited continues to set up the platform from all athletes. So again, 100% of endorsement will go to participating athletes. Businesses seeking to learn more or explore the marketplace can visit the AU Pro Athletes Exchange. And there's a link at the bottom. Again, go to auprosports.com for more details about that. And what a phenomenal opportunity for these athletes to, again, it shows you once again, ladies and gentlemen, how Athletes Unlimited once again continues to set the example to not only access, promoting the game, innovation, partnership, collaboration, which, to be perfectly honest, we need a lot more of that in softball nowadays. Again, just one guy's opinion. At the same time, I also love the fact that each athlete, they're responsible for how they want to handle being into this exchange. If they can opt in, they can opt out. They opt in. They set the terms. They set the parameters. And this is why, from the get-go, I've been a fan of this Athletes Unlimited format. And you see how much they've grown. Basketball is on fire. They got players left and right balling in the WNBA. Lacrosse doing its thing. Volleyball, they've been making some announcements with signings. Softball was the foundation on which Athletes Unlimited as a brand has grown. Now, they're doing it once again with this exchange. And again, more information available on auprosports.com. While we wait for Savannah, couple of refreshers and announcements, if you will. For those of you who did not catch the Morgan Zirkle interview that I re-aired a portion of earlier tonight, you can listen to the full interview along with Eric's interview with Mary Beth Gorsuch on the latest episode of In the Circle, available on d1softball.com and, of course, your favorite podcasting platform. Coaching news has been rampant. Mike Davenport, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that Mike Davenport, the Mike Davenport over 1,000 wins in North Georgia. He is now an assistant coach on Tony Baldwin's staff at the University of Georgia. Needless to say, Eric and I will have a lot to discuss about that particular topic on the next episode of In the Circle coming out on Thursday. We may do something a little special for those of you on our YouTube channel. We shall see. But that broke Monday afternoon. And when I heard that news, I was like, Major D2. Now, because usually, ladies and gentlemen, full disclosure, usually around this time, I am packed and prepared for my trip up north to Chicago. And each of the last 2 times I have been to Chicago, 2 things have happened. One, a prominent coach has stepped down. Carol Hutchins in 2022 retired from Michigan as my plane landed in O'Hare. 2023, as I was walking to my hotel, Allison Habits announced she was stepping away from Alabama. You think I would be off the hook this year with me not going to Chicago? Nope. Mike Davenport just decides, yeah, I'm going to go up to the D1 side and go to Georgia. So much for me having a calm week of softball talk. Nope, that ain't happening. Also, some news that came out, Amber Freeman, who was previously at Georgia. She is the new assistant. She's the new assistant head coach at Arizona. So congratulations to her. Lots of coaching moves, but Carly Heath, it was announced today, she'll be a part of the Georgia staff as the director of player development. Emily Carasoni, who just 2 weeks ago was named the associate head coach at Troy, she would take over for Tina Prater at Campbell. Of course, Tina Prater was recently named a new head coach at Memphis. Memphis making some new moves with announcements via the transfer portal. So Eric and I have a lot to talk about on our next episode of In the Circle. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. We're going to have some stuff that's going to be carrying over to future episodes as well. It's absolutely wild. This coaching carousel is still rolling along this deep in August. Schools have already started right now. Freshmen have moved in. Classes have started. Fall ball schedules have been released. And we still have coaching movement going on. That's why you need to go to d1softball.com, get the latest information on the coaching carousel, player moves via the transfer tracker, promo code summer 2024, 20% off your annual subscription to d1softball.com for all the latest news and information. And by the way, you can listen to previous episodes of In the Circle with Eric and myself, and also of the D1 Softball Podcast with Jenna Becerra. And who's that co-host she had this year? Mandy. Oh, yeah. Amanda Lawrence, who it just happens to be leading Athletes Unlimited going into the final week of the season. And I know I don't have a personal dog in the fight, although I thought Alyssa Denham was going to win this year. But selfishly speaking, I would love to see our D1 softball colleague Amanda Lawrence take it home and bring home a crown back to the D1 crew. It's going to be certainly exciting. We'll certainly follow all of that this weekend on Athletes Unlimited in Rosemont and wherever you get Bally Sports. And again, check your local listings for the dates and time for your regional network that will be carrying the games. Now, again, I do want to stress, usually we would have that information, but as of us going live, that information was not available yet. So keep that in mind. We will certainly give an update on that on our social platforms when we do have them available. Still waiting for Savannah Collins. As you know, she is a very busy woman. So we're looking forward to having her pop on with us for a few moments to kind of wrap up the show. By the way, while we were waiting for Savannah, ladies and gentlemen, we did pose a question on the In the Circle Twitter account at In the Circle SB. We posed this question, we posed this poll, and hopefully we want to get your thoughts on this. And it was about the Gators and being in the top 10, going to Athletes Unlimited, going to the final week of Athletes Unlimited. And the poll question was as follows, ladies and gentlemen, and I will share it all with you right now. The poll question was, how many Gators do you think will finish in the top 4 or top 10 of Athletes Unlimited? Now, because I'm scrolling through my feed right now. It has been don't ask me how I keep up with all this stuff. I don't know how I keep up with all this stuff. But yeah. That's how that's been going. But by the way, if those of you waiting, Savannah, she's just finishing up some things. She'll be joining us in a hot minute. So we appreciate your patience and understanding here, and me definitely stalling to get all of this done. By the way, while we are waiting for Savannah, I do want to give a programming note, ladies and gentlemen. There will be we will do a AU Tuesday wrap-up show next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Ashley Burkhart will make an appearance on the show to give her thoughts on Athletes Unlimited. That has already been confirmed. That has been locked in. Who else will we have on the show next week? I don't know who else we'll have on the show next week, but one thing I do know, I know who's going to be on the show in about 3, 2, 1 right now. That is our good friend, the busiest woman in all of television, at least in Rosemont this week's Savannah Collins joining us. Good evening, Savannah. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
We can all hear you we can hear you just fine, but we are down to the final week, and I was just talking to the folks, Savannah, about Georgina Corrick, and we've seen this before. We saw this with Melissa Denham the last 2 years, a pitcher coming on strong late. What has made Corrick's run so impressive from your perspective? And does she have enough to get over that hump and surpass not only Amanda Lorenz to surpass Amanda Lorenz to win the title?
I love this question. You're actually making me want to pull up the article that I posted today about her rise on the leaderboard because I want to get it exactly right. So
AUProSports.com. We can read that article, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Georgina went from 45 to 33 to 15 to 2 on the leaderboard. Wow. To me, that is just an insane run. It shows how consistent she's been through this portion of the season. So as we're just kind of like seeing her get better and better, I think she has a chance. I'm also going to throw in there, I'm kind of been digging into it right now. It's not only Georgina, it's Alicia too. When I think about people who could be the champion come Sunday, both of those two are in the race for me. Because Alicia's only 6 points behind Georgina. And being pitchers, they have that propensity for picking up a lot of stat points. If they can throw extended innings, we've seen Alicia have a 102 stat point week. Georgina's been around 90 before this season. So that may be paired with a really successful team, a couple MVP votes, and they're right in there. But there's a lot more that goes into it because Amanda's performing great too.
Yeah, and then not only that Georgina and Alicia, they play each other to start this final weekend of the season. So that, and I kind of touch on it as well, that's going to go a long way in determining which one of those two will have the best position, because they both play Amanda Lorenz on Saturday and Sunday. Georgina plays her to wrap up the season.
Definitely. Yeah, I think Friday night is going to tell us a lot of, is this locked in for Amanda Lorenz? I think it's close. Maybe having one more game in there, I feel like I would be able to tell if she sweeps, if she hits a home run, if she hits 2 home runs. If she's doing that on Friday night, she's in there. But, if Alicia or Georgina's team sweep the win points and they throw something like a complete game, they're getting MVP 1. They're in this race. So I think we'll start to kind of have an indicator on Friday, but this is definitely one that for the 4 medalists is going to come down to the wire.
Not only that, you have a possibility. You have a rookie in Lexi Kilfoyle, who was near the top all season long. She's holding on to that final spot, but she has names left and right jockeying, trying to get that 4th medalist spot as well.
Totally. Yeah, I think the race to be number 1 is a little tougher for her because she's 46 points behind Alicia. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of the pitchers, maybe Alicia and Georgina will switch spots, or Alicia and Lexi, but I don't think you're going to see a full shuffle of that right there because they are pitchers. They earn their points the same way. But I do think she's without a doubt contention for a medal. Someone who is consistently a captain, to me, says that each week they found a way to be at the top. I don't see that changing for Lexi going into week 5. This is kind of the point to lay it all out on the line. Throw yourself out there to start 2 games. Heck, throw all 3. You're really in charge of your own destiny here at the end.
I think when we take a look at this leaderboard, Savannah, I think the interesting thing that I'm looking at here, you brought up that race from 4 to 10. You see Kilfoyle number 4. You got Sasha Palacios right there nipping on her heels. Skylar Kelsey Harshman, who has had a very good year, but we haven't said a peep about it, and then she has a chance. Of these names that you see behind Kilfoyle, who is the most likely in your mind to jump into that top 4, almost similar to what we see Gwen Zvekis nearly do last season?
Yeah. I think before I could answer a name, I would have to pick a team. So if we see what we saw last week, which was a team go 3-0 and nearly take all the inning win points, the same way that it's Amanda, Georgina, Alicia, who were on that team, it's going to be Amanda, so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, who is on that team that really takes over the win points. Some people that stand out to me is Skylar Wallace. We've seen her be consistent. You're going to have the stat points at this, at this part of the season. Tori Vidalis as well. Kelsey Stewart-Hunter, we've seen production from her. I mean, that whole list has been really consistent. But now with just 3 games left, maybe a handful of at-bats, let's say 9, if 1 to 2 of those are for extra bases, home runs at that, you're starting to move past others because of the propensity for picking up points. Add on the fact, if you're coming in clutch and you're the one getting those big MVP points, you're in there.
I think that's how Georgina rose up so quickly, especially the last 2 weeks. She got those MVP points that jumped her up to the number 2 positioning. So those points are so huge. I know we talk about the medalist championship and all that stuff, but it's the final weekend for Palacios, for Haley McClenny, for Sam Fisher, and I'm sure the fans of Rosemont are going to give them their proper flowers and recognition. But just from you following them and seeing them through the many years, what's going to be the thing that you're going to enjoy the most, seeing these players getting their proper send-off into their next chapter?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, so I came across this video from our inaugural season in 2020 that I had on my phone. It's of Haley McClenny reading a poem that Janie Reed wrote. And in the poem, she talks about how this phrase that so many players just quietly slip away throughout their careers. They've just, it was their last season and you didn't really know, or they just, eventually stopped playing and you didn't really make a big fuss about it. And I'm going to post it because it was so beautiful, and it's just really poignant that Haley was the one who stepped up there and recited it, and now it's kind of her time to have that moment. I'm just loving how we celebrated them and talked about it all season long. I know our incredible video team with Hope Ballard has been leading the way on making these great videos from all these different voices in their careers. Just working on write-ups for the website, as simple as there should be something that accounts for everything that they've done and it should be published somewhere. On the broadcast side, we've been talking about how do we honor these players? What should we be talking about? When should we interview them? So just seeing this really big shift, I think, in softball, we talk about media coverage, but like a sliver of that is the fact that we are giving these players the send-off they deserve. And that is really neat to see how that has grown, and that these three have been a major storyline this season. And it wasn't just a, quiet slip away like it was described in that poem. It is a celebration of them, and that's been really fun.
I think not only just been a celebration of them, but a celebration of the sport. And they're just in the platform that they've been presented with it to really be celebrated and appreciated for not only the phenomenal players that they are, but phenomenal I'm at a loss for words now. I'm not even there, but for the phenomenal people that they are. And I know you get to see it. Actually, funny you bring that up, because I want to look at Team Kilfoyle. And I just realized this, Savannah. Look at this. You got Kilfoyle. You had was it Team Kilfoyle or this is what happens when you have there it is, Team Corey. Because not only you have Georgina Corrick going for the championship, you got the Palacio sisters playing their last weekend together, and Haley McClaney and Sam Fisher. So you got all of those different storylines all intertwining in trying to help Georgina Corrick finish that run and make it into winning the championship.
I said it on the draft with Kat Osterman when we saw this team solidified. When I look at this group of players with the retirees, with the sisters, with Georgina at the helm leading a team for her first time, that to me says magic. Like, if you believe in the softball gods, in karma, in good juju, like if you're superstitious, if you're into any of that stuff, when I look at this roster, that's what comes to mind. Just the propensity for people to have big moments when they're laying it all out there is just so prevalent in the sport. It makes me think of Amanda Chittister in her very last pro at bat. She absolutely nuked a home run after sitting in hours of rain delays. So that's an it factor about this team for me, is that there is so much at stake for this group. And, we see how pitching staffs are used is important, and offensive production and stringing together hits. But sometimes it just comes down to chemistry, and it just comes down to the right people at the right moment. Those are things that you can't predict, but that team has the recipe for it, is what I would say.
Yeah, and remember Morgan Zirkle had a walk-off last weekend, so they have though that tendency to come through in those 8 innings. So it's going to be a fun weekend, Savannah. What is the one thing that we have not talked about? We've talked about a lot in the short time we've had you on. What's the one thing that we haven't talked about that you yourself are looking forward to seeing this weekend in Rosemont?
Looking at the season as a whole?
Yeah, that's a season as a whole, yes.
I mean, I definitely don't think it can be understated having Amanda Lorenz in first place as a position player. And I'm going to tack on to that too, being an outfielder. Having been a captain since week 2, never letting up that gold spot. She's had great teams, and then even when her teams haven't performed the way that she probably would have liked, she's come through and had big games. Her hitting right now is outrageous. Her slugging is 700, like .700. 3 home runs, a double. like in 45 at bats, she's only struck out 3 times. And she's in first place for a reason. But I don't think we should ever miss out on just how hard that is to do as a hitter in this league. And she's got all the pieces this season, the win points on successful teams, consistent appearances at the plate, constantly finding a way to get on, and then coming through in big moments, being an MVP in game after game. So, it's like, oh yeah, Amanda Lorenz is at the top, but I don't want to miss out on what it has taken for her to be in that spot. It's so impressive, especially when, I kind of consider her one of the next up-and-coming leaders in pro softball, up-and-coming leaders within our national team. I don't think that should be understated of the type of season that she's having, and it's not just by chance. Like, this is who she's developing into as a seasoned pro.
The summer of Mandy softball,
as
we like to call around these parts.
Without a doubt.
And she has a chance to cap it all off with a championship in Rosemont. Savannah, I know you are a very busy woman. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. I'm assuming it's you, Eric Collins, and Danielle Lloyd closing us out this weekend?
No, we're going to have Amanda Scarborough here with us.
Scarborough.
She'll be here.
Oh, great. So you, Eric, and Amanda are wrapping us up this weekend.
And then
of course,
one more.
Remember,
so Natasha Watley's gonna be here on Friday. So you got a little bit of switch up, people coming in and out. Really neat because she's been with us at AUX, and so fun group.
And you're going to be running around. I know the sports bra is going to be back in Rosemont for the second weekend and for the second year in a row. You're going to be all over the place. So sleep will be at a premium, Savannah. So I'm going to let you get to that, my dear.
Thanks. Anytime I can come and talk about AU softball, I'm happy to. So thanks for having me on. And for AU Tuesdays, it's been so cool having a consistent place to talk about AU and listen and chat every week.
Well, Savannah, as you know, you have an open invitation. Whenever you want to come on the show, just let us know. We will be more than happy to have you on with us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Savannah Collins, ladies and gentlemen. You hear her. She broke the news, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Amanda Scarborough, Natasha Watley, along with Eric Collins and Savannah Collins, and a cast of thousands this weekend in Rosemont. The sports bra will be in Rosemont once again. And the fact that I'm not going to be there is absolutely making me, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go and cry somewhere. I'm going to have me some more cloud water, and I'm going to wrap up this beautiful night. We appreciate all of you supporting Athletes Unlimited Tuesdays. We got one more show next Tuesday night to wrap everything up. Ashley Burkhart will be joining me to give her thoughts. Hopefully we'll have some interviews or some sound from Rosemont there as well. And if our girl Amanda Lorenz, man, she's so far finished the job. If we get her on the show, who knows? But we will all find out together as the final weekend of Athletes Unlimited wraps up. This has been AU Tuesdays exclusively here on the Inner Circle YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. That way we get this video out to the masses to let everyone know about the great work going on in Rosemont. Savannah Collins and again for Morgan's local. My name is Victor Anderson. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Tuesdays exclusively here on the Inner Circle YouTube channel. Top podcasts are out. Good night, Canada.